So you make that tough decision. You join your dad's business. What was the name of the paper copy company?
So the company he started was called Connectivity Business Systems.
Okay. And so were you a natural, like a chip off the old block because of your dad, or how? Because I know you as the quote unquote copier warrior. So there has to be some sort of like hero's journey here in the sales world. I don't know how instant it was, but we'll get to some of the crazy shit you were doing to win business. But like, was that it? Was that all instinctual, or how was the first few years of that process?
The things that were natural for me were subjects of around things like creativity. So when you talked about marketing, or you talked about talk tracks, or you talked about just general engagement or communication with a prospect, those things it was natural for me to be able to do that well, and non-traditionally also. It's very easy for me to do that. It was easy for me to not wear a suit. It was easy for me to, when I cold call somebody, not to say, hey, I'm with this company and I'd like 30 seconds to speak to you, right? It was easier for me to call that same person and be like, yo, Brian, what's up? It's Dale. And this is like either going to be a waste of your time because it's a cold call, or we can both commit to each other here for the next minute or two and decide whether or not I've got something that you need. And if you'll take a risk, we can figure that out. It was easy for me to like start like in a building block at very small places like that. That evolved into things that are just ridiculous, right? But that's, when I think back to it, I think that those were the most, the things that I should say, the things that I was very good at were taking the risks and trying stuff that was very non-traditional. Sometimes it failed, right? Sometimes it didn't. But I found the niches, like where I could get that opening line so quick and so efficient that it interrupted the pattern. It caused the person to create a sense of curiosity and an emotional awakening in that moment, that I realized sales is much more than what we boxed it into. As I was also learning sales on the side, next to these things that were very normal for me and very natural, I'm learning all this other stuff over here, and I'm going, what is all this? Like, why would I complicate what I'm doing? And
Like
the thing is that I started
where.
Yeah, I'm not going to say necessarily who, and I never really have in the last, 7 years of kind of like doing stuff like this on podcasts. But I'll say that it was all the popular stuff, right? I'm not going to say that I don't think that all of it, or that I think all of it is bad. Like Og Mandino is one of the greatest authors. He has an amazing book, right? Like that, he's one of the best, right? But like I latched to the people that wanted to sell with soul, that people that wanted to connect, create impact, and do something more than just like push a product, because nobody wants to be sold anything. It's kind of the bottom line. So for me, like naturally, I could get behind that message, but I was also being told over here on the side, like, yo, you got to do this. You got to have an upfront contract. You got to try this move. You got to close with the pen this way. You got to say this. You got to reverse that way. I mean, it was like confusing that for the first couple years of my career, it wasn't the prettiest, bro. I mean, I sucked, to be quite blunt. I sucked. I was really good at what I knew I was good at. And I was getting all this traction in certain areas of the sales process and then losing everything, right? At certain points as well, too. And just like wondering, what's going on? But it was that information overload concept. And it was that there are only two paths in sales, man. There's the authentic, very Tom, very Dale approach that hones in on the identity of selling from the soul, right? And then there's the other approach, which is like, give me a script, let me sell a product, I'll bang it out, Wolf of Wall Street style. And like, look, you can be successful with either of those, but one of them leads to prison and federal crimes, right, at the end of the day, and the other one leads to fulfillment and legacy, and maybe not all the money that you ever wanted, right? But money is just a thing, bro. Like happiness, experiences, people, that's what really matters in life. And so in those early stages of those couple years, I got to really define for myself what I actually wanted. And after those 2 years were up, bro, year 3, records. Year 4, more records. Year 5, sold the business because we had literally taken it to a place where my dad didn't need to run it anymore. And we had made the money back that we had lost in the 2008, 2009 debacle with the economy hitting a recession, which was a crazy experience, by the way. And I realized after those years, right, that, whoa, if I had, at the very beginning, if I had gone, yo, Dale, give yourself 5 years, instead of like, yo, Dale, every day you got to bust your butt as hard as you possibly can to make success for yourself. Instead, if I would have just slowed down and calmed down and been like, yo, this takes time. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to have some failures. It doesn't mean you're bad. It means you're learning. It means that you're gaining, in these moments. If I would have known that at the beginning, it would have been a lot different. But I think it's really important that nobody knows that, because then they can literally like discover it for themselves and have the kind of epiphany that I did.